Hi, my name's Alessandra, and I'm going to be talking to you about the Rekenrek. It is my chosen manipulative for so many reasons why I absolutely love it, and I'm going to go through the reasons why right now. So, it's a fantastic tool that helps students with subitizing, cardinality, composing and decomposing numbers, anchoring in groups of 5 and 10, and it also helps students with developing informal strategies such as doubling and halving, learning one more and one less, and learning two more and two less, which are typically those two less concepts are often difficult for students to learn. So giving them a concrete tool such as a Rekenrek really makes it easy for them to understand and actually visualize when you say three and then you might say one more. They're able to push it and see what one more is and that makes four. And then eventually they're going to be able to visualize and reference in their head and they wouldn't even need the Rekenrek. So I absolutely love the Rekenrek. Its clear connection to the Ontario curriculum is it can. I find that your students can use this from grade kindergarten to up to grade 3, depending at the level they're at. For me personally, I think it really resonates with the kindergarten curriculum, and specifically with number sense and numeration, quantity relationships, counting, and operational sense. The specific expectations that it hits are 15.5, 15.9, and 20.1. When you want students to subitize quantities up to 5 without having to count, using a variety of materials and strategies, compose and decomposing quantities to 10, demonstrate understanding of the number relationships from 0 to 10 and through investigation. And you can really do all that with the Rekenrek. Now, there is really only one rule that you have with the Rekenrek is you want to keep the white beads on the right. And the reason for that is that students, we read from left to right. So when they push their numbers to the left side, this is what's in view and they're able to really focus on that. Now, I love that you can differentiate the Rekenrek for a lot of learners because your students can be at whatever level they're at and still use the same tool. At the beginning of the year, you might have students who need to count one by one, and that's okay. But eventually the goal is you want to be able to tell your students, you might say, what number is this? And you might quickly show them 6, and you want them to not have to count. So you'd show them quickly and you'd put it down. You want them to be able to the goal is to know that 6 is one more than 5, and that they would use their grouping strategies to push the 5 units to the red and push the 1 unit to the left as well, and vote over the white bead. So I do love the Rekenrek, and it supports students with learning in a tangible way. It's such a concrete tool that they can use. And it supports the variety of learners, which I've mentioned. Having a concrete tool allows students to visualize and see the numbers. They allow students to subitize, first mentally counting and then eventually just knowing the numbers. In addition, the Rekenrek helps with cardinality, knowing one-to-one correspondence with numbers. Students can make connections with friendly numbers, such as 5 and 10. Students can visually feel, physically count, as well as mentally count numbers with the Rekenrek. This supports students' learning as it scaffolds them from counting individually to eventually counting mentally. The Rekenrek is used as a thinking tool that students visualize groups of numbers. By utilizing both the top and bottom racks, students can see different combinations that can be used to compose and decompose numbers. For example, you might actually show a student and say, show me 8. And you might have one student that pushes the 8 all together. However, you might have one student that shows you 5 and 3, and that still makes 8. You might have a student that does 4 and 4. There's a variety of ways that they can compose and decompose the numbers. So you might tell students who can show me 8 in the fewest number of pushes, and students would then have to learn how to subitize to show you 8 that they did it in one push, or they could alternatively still show you 4 and 4 in one push. So goal is to just have them subitizing and making meanings of those numbers. The connection to research. Now, there's a lot of research that's been done on the Rekenrek, but I do want to call out a favorite of mine. It was from Jeff Freiholm, and he said something that I found pretty outstanding. And he said that Rekenrek's, one, it's an accessible tool for all learners. And in a minute, I'm going to show you how we can actually make a Rekenrek at home. He also suggests that it might be the most powerful tool for learners. And I think it's because it hits so many different concepts. Your students can really extend their knowledge on concepts taught through the Rekenrek. So yes, I absolutely love the Rekenrek. And now we're going to talk about how to make a Rekenrek. Now here I just bought this one on Amazon and it was pretty inexpensive. and you can definitely have this for your students in your classroom. You can also, if you don't have a class set, you can have a larger one that the students use in the front of the room, and you could do that. But we can also make them. So using just, I did make one quickly for essence of time. Using just a pipe cleaner, pony beads, and construction paper, I was able to make my Rekenrek. Now I'm just going to push my beads, and let's do it this way. Okay, so you want the beads still on the right side. So my beads are on the right side, and all you needed to do is just poke it through, and this was super inexpensive, and then you could actually make one for each student. Now, if you want it to be a little bit sturdier, I'd probably put it on cardboard, and that way it could withstand. But all I did was poke it through, and you could use a little bit of hot glue gun, and you're good to go. So I do love the Rekenrek. I think it's a great tool that you can introduce to your students and your children, and it connects to the curriculum. It's just... try it, play with it, have fun with the Rekenrek. It's great. Thank you.